Boom! Welcome, everybody. Super excited to see all of you today. I'm sure we'll have some more people jumping in. Give me a big old boom in the chat bar. I see a lot of amazing, incredible people here tonight ready to learn. And if you're excited about what I'm going to cover tonight, which is the economic ice age, Now, let me first set a stage of why am I even doing this? Well, I mean, the main reason to do it is what I've always standed for pretty much my entire life, was to do my very, very best to help people from creating or living in a reality of suffering, right? Because in times like now, type in now in the chat bar, in times like now, there's three classes of people, and you guys should make sure you got a pen and notepad to write some notes. There is the obvious creators of wealth. The creators of wealth are the ones that are right now, they see what is in front of us in this moment now, and they see opportunity. They're leveraging, they're preparing, they're building. So that's class number one of people. There's number two. Number two is the wanting more by not learning more, or wanting more by not executing more, or wanting more by doing the same thing. And if you're trying to get way more by doing the same thing, this could be the next 36 months could be some of the most challenging months of your entire life. And then I think there's just the oblivious, right? It's the people that are just, everything is bad, nothing ever works, they love the system, they love unemployment, they love being victims of society. And I think it all comes down to write down the words like awareness and decision. And when you have awareness, you get to get a choice. I loved, because Montana's on here. If you don't know Montana, you should look up his Facebook. He had a great post about, like, I don't know what it was, bad things that happen in a company. And as I started to type, I could have went on for probably 4 days of telling you every single lawsuit and destructive thing and thing that broke and money I lost still today, like no one that I know is eliminated from or restricted to life's growth opportunities. But what you can do is win on the other side of every one of these situations that are happening. So that's what made me do this. And I knew if you go back in time and you look at a lot of these things that I've been through, and I've been through the 9/11, and I've been through the 2008, any of you guys type in the chat bar, and I've been through the COVID thing, and I've been through all this, except in one part of my world, it was just about me surviving. That was probably in 9/11 and 2000, and during 9/11 and 2008. That was about like me surviving. And then later, when we got into COVID, it was about me and maybe at that time, 800 companies I was coaching, right? And I took it really as a responsibility to save people from destruction of their company, which I would say worked out really well, because I don't know, and I am going to brag a little bit, I don't know anybody that's helped facilitate. I didn't do it for them, I just guided them, but I don't know anybody that's helped facilitate more decamillionaires than I have to this point. And that all happened right through COVID, right? Which people were regressing and they were moving away, and they weren't moving forward, and they didn't know what to do. And so that's what made me create this the economic ice age, the brutal truth about what's coming and what's here now, and what smart owners are doing right now to survive and scale. And this is going to be a 3-part series. So this is number 1 series. And I want to try to save you because look, there's some of you on here that are small companies, and I was a small companies at many different levels, right? I mean, when I built Gold Medal, which became a 200 employee, $32 million a year, 165 truck company, I went from small to big. And along the way, when I was like 5 trucks, 10 trucks, 20 trucks, 30 trucks, I thought I was the cat's meow, and I had a nice ego to travel with that, until I realized that just when you think you have everything under control, what happens? Type something in the chat bar. What happens when you think you got it all under control? Your market, you have customers, your marketing is working, you're closing money, you have a great employees, and then, yeah, Andrew, boom, you get a reality. You get a reality. So we'll do tonight as session number 1, and then we'll go on to, and I'll post the date and give you guys plenty awareness when we go for session number 2. And then we'll go for session number 3. So I built this as a 3-part ascension for all of you, a 3-part ascension to save the world from themselves is what I want to do. But let's start by looking at history. And history never lies. Like, yeah, you could have like interpretation, but let me give you some things that probably are not interpretation, okay? And it's what I call the recession and the abundance cycle, okay? You might want to write that down. And as I'm hitting things that are striking your mind, type in boom in the chat bar. Every economic collapse sets the stage for massive creation and explosive wealth for those who move, build, and lead while others panic or wait. And I love these times because, I always had the mindset. Let me see who's on here. Hey, Deb, nice to see you. Andrew, what's happening? Z, Judy, Andrea, Lisa, you made it. Hey, nice to see you guys. And my rule of thumb was, in any industry, I wanted to be the stealth bomber. You know what the stealth bomber was? It's like the moment you knew it was there, it was too late. It was too late. And today everybody's telling them what's coming, right? And I don't want to show people what's coming. I want them to be aware that I'm there. But let's look at some stats here. The Great Depression was 1929 to 1939. That's a decade. Now, what followed the Great Depression, and I bet some of you have had parents or grandparents, you probably had grandparents in the Great Depression. What followed it was this infrastructure boom, highways, bridges, power plants, right? So as you see these stats that I share, I want you to be aware of what happened, but then I want you to equally feel the gold mine that happened on the other side. We then had the post-World War II recession, which was 1945 to 1949. So we have a solid 4 years there. And what happened there? Suburban housing explosion, middle-class wealth creation, right? Again, we come out of that and there's a big growth opportunity. We have the oil crisis that comes up, and this is the oil crisis recession. And this is 1973 to 1975. So I was born in 1970, which means in, well, I don't know, what is today's date? Oh, it's May 7th. So in whatever, 22 more days, on May 29th, I'll be level 55. So that would be the time when I was a kid for my dad. And what followed this? The tech revolution, the rise of Microsoft, Apple, early personal computers. Now, for some of you, you're extremely young. That feels like a million miles away. But let's get a little closer. We have the double dip recession that happens in 1980, right? And then we had what? The Reagan boom. We had the Wall Street expansion. We had the 1980s prosperity, right? And this starts a whole new catalyst and takes us into what? How many of you, and type in the dot-com crash, right? 2000 to 2002. Can anybody remember that? The dot-com crash? And what followed that? Google, Amazon, mobile tech, the e-commerce explosion. And then we have the Great Recession of 2008. And if you lived through 2008 recession and you were in business, type in 2008. I remember it, right? Because I was fist fighting through it. And I'm proud to say I never had a flat year. I never had a down year. The minimum amount we expanded per year was $1 million. Some years it was $1 million. My biggest year was $6.5 million. But what followed 2008 is more important than what happened in 2008. John Watts, Uber, Airbnb, Facebook, right? This whole gig economy. And then we become pretty fat, high on the hog, right? We start to live really good when we get out of that 2008 recession. We cruise control, baby. Can any of you type in cruise control if you know that outside of that recession, once you made it through, it was almost a decade, a little less than a decade of money from the sky. Yeah, that's right, Judy. Low rates, right? I mean, it was just abundance, but you didn't know it. You just looked at it as a byproduct, so you didn't pay attention. And just when you can't imagine anything could possibly happen weird, and I knew something was coming, but I never knew it was this. We have what they call the COVID collapse. Can you even believe it was 2020? Now, what happened? What followed 2020? One of the fastest market rebounds in history. What about the real estate boom, right? Man, I sold properties in COVID. It sold my wife and I, our one house. It sold, I think, in under 3 days. And it was, I don't know, I don't remember that. 15,000 over asking price. Did anybody else win? Type in some dollar signs in the chat bar. And then in 2020, the digital acceleration. So let's look at what could follow this collapse. And I want you, as you're listening to me, I want you to sit in the lenses of what is happening, but what can you be doing? Because I've been saying this already for probably a couple of years, that more wealth and abundance, more, write this word down, more financial peace will happen from now to 2030 than ever in history. Ever in history. Greater than the 1920s when we were just building infrastructure in the world. So we're sitting on the edge of the very next boom, but it's not going to look like the past. We have AI superpower surge. A matter of fact, I was booking, my wife and I have a little compact RV, and I was booking it today for an appointment. And guess what I spoke to? An AI machine. It talked to me. It said, "Welcome back, Mike. Let me find your vehicle." It did frustrate me a little bit. I will be honest. I would have rather had a human on the phone because I had to go in the place and confirm what they're going to do. But we have the AI superpower. We have the humanoid robot integration that's coming. This is a big thing. We have the workforce revolution. The workforce revolution. The way that people work, the way that teams work, employees work, the way they want to work is changing forever. Tell me if you agree. Type agree if the way humans want to work and make money is changing. Now, if it's the 50-year-olds and above, maybe not. They still want to maybe go to work. They want to grab a wrench. They want to do something. But if you go below that, 40 and below, no, I want to do it from my home. I want to do it from my car. I want it super convenient. And I want to do very little effort. And I want massive abundance. Now, I don't know if you could get massive abundance by doing very little things. I think even if you look at Elon Musk today, who I'm pretty sure is the richest human on the planet, this guy works 1 billion hours. He speaks 1 million hours. He's slept on cots on the floor. So I don't know. If you figure it out, you teach me. And I still probably won't want it because I enjoy solving and building and creating at midnight. I still really, really love that. And if you told me, Mike, just, push a button and everything would build for you, I would get bored really, really fast. We have personal brand empires. And if I would tell all of you to write something down, is your personal brand and authority. If you take just one thing from tonight, if you are not investing in your personal brand that supports what you're creating. Now, I know a lot of people are trying to do a personal brand. It looks like they quack like a duck. And then they're trying to build a business that doesn't have quacking ducks. That's not going to work. You're going to have such a brand separation, it's going to take you forever to close the gap. But if you have a personal brand that's supporting that first level empire build, and you are the voice of that, and you're the biggest voice today, which less than, and I'm probably being generous here, less than 10%, it's probably 1% of the population, would you say, has a strong personal brand and authority positioning. But this used to be an option. Authority brands used to be just for people like Steve Jobs or maybe Tony Robbins or Gary Vee. But if you look at the legends of time, the Brian Tracy, the Jim Rohn, you look at these guys of building their brands and building it over decades and decades, you could see the superpower. But guess what? The gap is closed. Why? It's closing quickly because people now, you see the articles, right? There's a woman making $1 million a month on, whatever, some website, and she's not even real. She's not even real. And she makes $1 million, completely fake, but people don't know the difference. So this girl could undress and dress and whatever. She knows the algorithms of human behavior. So number one big thing I want to give you right now is if you are not paying attention to your personal brand and personal authority, you are missing the momentum that's going to pay over and above anything else. Okay. Number two thing I want to give you right out of the gate here is we are in a human behavior superhighway. We're in a human behavior superhighway. This is going to be good for people like Andrea. So if anybody's looking for someone to solve your personal miseries and anxieties, just reach out. Andrea's on here and connect with her, and she could save you from you, which the world is now this human behavior driven mess today. And this is not going away, but it's also a superpower because if you understand what activates people, what makes people do the things they do, to what makes people want the things they want, you then can help your company align with humans. But most people don't do this today. So they're going to have their marketing all looks the same in the world, right? Their marketing looks like hire me for my plumbing, let me fix your car, let me massage you and you'll save $30 or come for a free oil change. And your marketing just looks a little evolved above 1970. Does anybody disagree with me? But you might be a little fancier, so you throw a rubber duck on the side of your truck, and in your ad, you put a superhero, and you think that that makes you so extremely different that people pour over to you. But you don't understand, what do they think? What do they feel when they see it? What makes people take action? What's keeping people from moving forward? What's keeping them from buying more from you? What makes them go buy from other people? And why am I talking about this now? Because if you just take 1% of tonight and implement it, you have your best chance of winning versus being stepped on, right? Being stepped on. Why? The PE firms are bigger. The M&A firms are bigger. The conglomerates, okay? You used to worry, probably a decade and a half ago, you worried if you were in a service business, you were worried Google and Amazon was gonna have you, they were gonna sell your products, right? You would buy a water heater on, on Amazon, and someone would install it, and everybody was concerned about this. But we have a bigger villain today that you don't even realize, most of you, that you're feeding the villain. Now, the alternative is the understanding helps you win. Who do you think is one of the biggest building villains of today that you don't even maybe realize? See if you want to take a guess in the chat bar. The biggest villain today is actually OpenAI. No, it's not Bill Gates, but he is definitely could be a villain out there. It's OpenAI, it's ChatGPT. What you are feeding the machine, hey, Stephen, the machine will just eat you up in the future. It's learning everything about you, how you think, your projects you work on. And now it has the #1 super ability to take over the whole world, not destroy the world. It's going to take over the world, because what's going to happen is that you're going to sit there and ChatGPT is going to be the one that sells the product. It's going to position the person. It is the Google and Amazon squished together into the biggest Iron Man and Hulk combined ever. Is that a big insight for you guys? Type in insight in the chat bar. Because if you're not aware of it, then you're not leveraging it. You're a slave to it, and you don't even know you're the slave. But if you know what it's used for, and you know what it's going to be in the future, well, then you could jump on the tsunami wave of it instead of getting crushed by it. So what is all this this information for? Well, the next explosion of wealth, we know it's coming. You're either going to ride it or you're going to get run over by it. And every weak thing inside your life, your business, and wealth that you are not building by design is very dangerous to have by default. So you want to be a by design individual. Now, tonight I built this to be for business owners who know they're not building enough wealth, okay? It's for founders that are tired of waiting on the economy and you want to take full control of it. It's for entrepreneurs that are ready to play offense instead of defense. And it's for leaders who understand wealth must be created, not inherited. Now, I don't know about you. Maybe some of you will inherit wealth. Well, I haven't inherited no wealth, and nobody's given it to me. I mean, I guess it would be nice to inherit some wealth. You would get money without skills, right? Which I think for most of the wealthy that gets money without skills normally ends up broke again. So I'd rather get the money through skills. And this is for builders that are ready to create their own economy while others are waiting for permission. Now, if you're newer in my world on this training, this is definitely not for people who are hoping this is going to go back to normal. There is no back to normal, okay? I don't know if any of you have a mom or somebody who's hoping things. Does anybody have an elderly mom hoping things will just go back to the way it was? There's no back to normal. There's only the new normal. The new norm is what's happening right now. And if you're a business owner clinging to what worked pre-2020, it's just not. It's not going to. It's not. Look at the stats, right? And if people are allergic to pressure, change, or truth, this is going to be a rough roller coaster here. And anybody operating on hope instead of systems, and I want you to write down another action item. Become system driven. If you're you don't become system driven when you make money, you become system driven to create lots of money. And I've yet to meet a business owner that has completely blown me away with their systems. I've yet to see it. When you have systems, you have a self-evolving organization. It creates abundance. It hires the people you want. It grows the people in your organization. It nurtures the relationship. It expands lifetime value with customers. And how would you guys rate? If you rated 10, you're a system-driven organization. You could walk away today, the sucker would run for the rest of its life without you. And one being, you would be scared if you missed a month, 30 days, you'd be afraid. Where do you even rate yourself? Be honest in the chat bar. Now, this information I'm going to give you, it's not for anyone that's operating on hope instead of these systems. And leaders who freeze when decisions get hard, forget about it, right? Because hard is a decision you make, just like stress, right? Stress is a decision you decide. So why are we right now already in a silent recession? Now, why do I say it's, Steven says he's a shining two. Yeah, there you go, shiny two. Well, I could feel what a shiny two is like, because I'm pretty sure I was a shiny two at one time too. Now, if you look at why we are in a silent recession right now, is the consumer confidence today, as of April 2025, what do you think in the percentage? 100% consumer confidence or 0% consumer confidence? Where do you think we're rolling? And then I'll share 25%. We're a little bit above that. We're actually around the 70-something% consumer confidence, which is not great. It's not super terrible, because if you go to a depression, then we're going to be 50 or below, right? But consumer confidence says, how much are people how much do they trust things? They do have projected from 2024 to 2025, 15,000 store closures. Now, when stores close, the only person upset is the people that go to stores, right? But they're smart. These big companies are not stupid, right? They're not stupid at all. They know what's coming and they're preparing for it. And if you look at the housing market, has been frozen by what? It's been frozen by tariffs and rates. So we are in a world of that. There is situations. The GDP has dropped. They're saying 145% increase on tariffs on China imports. What does that mean to you? Well, I hope if you've been following anybody smart or intelligent, anything you needed to buy that was not in America already, you hopefully bought it, because if it's coming from another country, you're going to pay a lot more and you're going to start waiting a long time. This is not a maybe, this is a now. It's right now. And people with wealth, well, they're not concerned about this because they can pay more. It just means they'll write off more. But those that can't afford it, this is a big problem, right? You're going to be pulling the toilet paper apart so you can make it last longer. Then you have freight layoffs, right? And that's going to be a 20% on import decline. And then you have summer consumer spending. They're already projecting that the consumer spending on summer is going to go down 7%. So what does this mean? For one of you, you say, well, Mike, this is horrible. I was already frustrated. Now I'm effing depressed and I'm only on with you for 33 minutes. And I say, why are you depressed? There is a lot of people with a lot of money. Those that become marketers and system-driven organizations and not hobbyists. You know what a hobbyist is? A hobbyist is a business owner that sells a product, tries to do their QuickBooks. They try to send a invoice. They try to collect some money. They have no systems. They have no marketing systems, no sales systems. They have no structure of team. That's a hobbyist. That's not a business. That's going to the flea market and setting up a table. But if you want to win, which there's a great opportunity, and you have a system for marketing, and your system for marketing is talking about how to beat the tariffs right now, which I'm on a lot of your Facebooks, and I'll tell you, I hope it's okay. And if you think I'm wrong, send me a message. They're pretty shitty. Does anybody think they're just knocking it out of the park? You have so much abundance, you can't keep up with hiring people right now. Tell me in the chat bar, because I look at it and I see very big concern. And I am concerned for you guys. I'm not here after doing 500 million in my two companies at 7:30 at night because I don't care. I'm here because if I just get one of you to listen and take action, then I did my purpose here, okay? So if you look at the marketing side, how do we hedge the tariffs in our benefit? How did you already buy abundance of product so when everyone else's demand goes up and they have to sell at a higher price, you could come in at a better price and win the conversion game because you hedged your bets? Did you, depending on product, services, did you already pre-buy stuff on POs? You don't need money for what I'm saying. You need intelligence. You need wisdom. Can you type in wisdom in the chat bar? You don't need money to make money. You need wisdom to make abundance. Okay? I know it's counterintuitive. A lot of people say, no, Mike, you got to start a company. No. If you know how to do everything from bartering to borrowing to partnering, you don't need money. You need a sense of wisdom. So, and the reason I went through and picked these strategies that I'm going to share with you is I went back in time and I spent a lot of time on it. I got at least 8 to 10 hours on this one of researching, saying what happened during the 9/11 collapse, what happened during 2008 financial crisis, what happened during the COVID lockdowns, right? What's happening with inflation and the labor shortages, right? And on the human behavior side, I mean, let's face it, I had over 20,000 people come through my trainings and I coached over 1,000 business owners. So I watched every behavior and habit. I watched a huge percent of them. They're so wealthy right now. And I watched a lot of them still broke. And there is distinct things that happen between the suffering and the celebrating, right? So let's look at the 5 blind spots that I want you to pay attention to. The first blind spot is this delusion of demand. And we're going to go into that. And because this demand that you think was there, see, when COVID opened up the doors, Some of you heard me say this because you've been on some of my trainings over the last decade. When COVID opened up the doors, it cracked it open and all the money came flying in. And everybody thought they were a brilliant business owner, didn't they? Because all the money came in. They had so much work. But then it started to what? Type in the chat bar. Started to dry up. And I've watched it the first of this year. Everybody that wasn't listening, they clearly had coaches that were trying to coach the same way they always coach, trying to give the same wisdom. The first quarter hit of this year, and boom, screeching halt on the brakes. Asking me what happened. I'm like, what do you mean what happened? What we said what was going to happen a year ago is what happened. The only difference was you were stuck in the significance of what happening and you weren't prepared for it. But you could get prepared now. Number two, soft marketing. This marketing that's just not, it's not talking to the people's subconscious mind. And so it's the marketing trying to talk to logic. And they're just trying to follow the other people in their industry. Then you have the subscription complacency, which we do know we are a subscription and membership world. Think about it. How many subscriptions do you think you pay for today? Just take a guess. How many? Dozens? Zoom? What about Netflix? Amazon? Right? Costco's, BJ's, Sam's, and then maybe you got some kind of product delivered to you. We have the butcher box we have in our own house. So if you're not a subscription or membership business, then you're in the one-time transaction business. And I would challenge you to figure out how to be that membership business. We also, so number 4, we have this hidden expense bloat that I'm going to talk about. You got these systems that aren't managed, so you're bloated on your cost because you're buying things that are not getting the return. You're buying things that you're not taking action on. And the last one is you're trying to use old tactics in the new world. And old tactics in the new world just don't work. So there's a turning point here. And the turning point is we have a bunch of things that I want to give you that if you're not focusing on, I can't go as in-depth, but I can go enough for you to at least write it down and take action on, okay? The first thing is I want you to make sure you evaluate yourself. And we have a process which is called the pinnacles. And the pinnacles is the 3 wheels. So I want you to evaluate yourself on the life wheel, the business wheel, and the wealth wheel. And if you look at these 3 wheels, and any of you that come to any of our trainings, you know that we do it in depth. We'll do it during the SOP training that we always do, is that you have to know where you stand. Everybody has a business KPI, but they really don't look at their life KPI and their wealth KPI. So it's incomplete. The second thing is you want to make sure that you have what we call the Parthenon, and you put as much focus on these 7 as you can. Okay? The 7, I'm going to give them to you, and you should write it down. And if you suck at any of them, you should, I guess, unsuck yourself from it, right? The first one's marketing. You have to master it. You have to understand the psychology of it. In a minute, I'm going to talk about the recession psychology. But you have to understand marketing and be a marketer. If you're not a marketer, you have to trust other marketers. But I'm not telling you to do the work. I'm telling you to not be ignorant to the work, not be illiterate to it. I don't push pay-per-click and I don't know how to do meta ads, but I understand marketing, right? Sales, number 2. And some of you that have been in our world a while, you're seeing the Parthenon image inside your mine with the roof of it that says freedom and personal growth, and the bottom that says the foundation is legacy. You got to understand sales. And if you haven't done one of our sales training, well, I got to tell you, you're missing out big, because the thing you got to know about sales is a form of communication. It's not a form of manipulation, right? And if you need to know how to do objection handling in sales, you don't understand sales, because part of your process is broken. You need to understand the fundamentals of business. Every aspect that connects together as a puzzle with business. Now, all of these components of the 7 Parthenon are important for you. If you're failing in one, you're failing in all. The house is crumbling. So you have to understand all the aspects of business. Leadership. Anything you're suffering, if you don't have leads, you have a leadership problem. If you don't have great employees, you have a leadership problem. If your relationship's falling apart, you have a leadership problem. If you're not making wealth, you have a leadership problem. You don't know how to lead your own life, your business, and your wealth. So you better double down on learning about leadership. Then we have wealth. You want to somebody said, yeah, well, what is wealth? Is it about how happy you are? I said, yeah, that could be it. But I don't know. I think people with 10 million or more in their bank are just a little bit happier than people living on the street, unless they're choosing that. So wealth has to be a focus. And it's not a focus when you have millions. It's a focus when you have dollars. It's right now. Then you have to have a life focus, because if you are dealing with stress, anxiety, depression, right? What is it? ADHD and OCD. If you're dealing with all these things in life, well, how the heck do you even scale? How do you even create this? And the last one's relationships. You got to understand relationships. So if you could really focus on the 3 wheels and take massive action, and you could focus, they put a picture of the Parthenon, and you could focus on every one of those, you're going to move way, way faster. Now, let me give you the recession psychology here. 90%, write it down, 90% of business owners freeze in a recession. They freeze. You know why? They're doing too many things. They're not focused on the right things at the right time. Why? Because we're coming out of the COVID abundance where people wanted to do a million things. Well, I'm going to have a t-shirt making company, and I'm going to do a chiropractor company, and I'm going to be a housing mogul. And what happened is they juggled so many balls that in a abundant economy, the balls really don't fall, because it's abundance. It keeps it up in the air. It's pretty fucking easy, to be blatant with you. You could throw a lot of ball, and there was a lot of money for you. You could go get money. So if a ball fell, you just go get some money and throw it at it. But when that went away, right? When that went away, now there's no money to throw the balls up in the air. So what are people doing? They freeze. The election, okay, 6 months leading up to the election was one of the greatest indicators that we were entering the ice age. Type in relate if you could relate to that. How many people were freezing on the election, waiting? What's going to happen? Like all of a sudden, after the election, the skies would open up and your bank account would fill up, your taxes would go down, your customers would buy in abundant. Well, really? Did you think that happened? I mean, there has to be a course correction. And consumer confidence, it's down 4 straight months right now. Consumer confidence. And when consumer confidence is down, they rent less Airbnbs, they use less Ubers, they vacation less, they buy less things, they fix things less. Unless you're a marketer and a great leader, then you know how to help them see that that's not the greatest decision. And CEOs today of companies are delaying hiring, spending, and scaling. One of the most foolish things that business owners can do right now is pull back on their marketing. Foolish mistake. Foolish mistake. If you stop watering the tree, did you guys ever, tell me in the chat bar, did you ever, like when I was a kid, hey Danny, when I was a kid, we planted sunflower plants, and you water it and you see it grow a little bit. But one day, if you keep watering it, you go outside and this sunflower plant is like 8 feet tall. And you say to yourself, how the hell did that happen? But I want you to imagine if the sunflower was in the heat, right? And you stopped watering it, it dies. It dies. And if you write a note down, if you're trying to get to the point where you want instant gratification, then guess what's going to happen? If you want instant gratification, you're going to pull back because you're not going to get it because you're frozen. So one, don't pull back on your marketing, because every time I stayed the path, it's just like the stock market. The number one thing anybody tells you about the stock market is what? Don't try to time the stock market, right? That's the lesson they tell you. If you try to get in and time the bottom and try to get out and time the top, you'll probably get a lesson. Who's ever had that lesson? Tell me in the chat bar. Me, I've had that lesson thinking I was Nostradamus. See if I could, I did a little bit of day trading. I was going in there, putting some stops on those things. And one time I forgot, which was a good one. I forgot I bought Apple. It was a Think or Swim, I think, platform. I forgot I bought Apple. And then like 9 months later, I said, oh shit, I checked the account. I made a lot of money. I took it out because I said, man, I wasn't even watching the thing. And that's why I said, you know what? Write this down. Double down on your core skill set and let an expert do the rest. Double down right now on your core skill set and let the expert do the rest. Now, does that mean be ignorant? No, it doesn't mean you should be not know what the hell a portfolio is or diversification. It doesn't mean that. It means if you know your superpower and you double down on that superpower, if it's leading, selling, building, marketing, if you double down on that and let everyone else do what you're not good at, you'll expand. Number two, don't get rid of people because of AI. Why would you get rid of people that are already invested in you? Unless the role is completely changed and they don't fill a new role, they're not expendable. So the thing I want you to write down for this is start reskilling. Reskill your team faster than technology. We're reskilling our team right now. Megan on our team, which some of you say, hey, Megan, in the chat bar. She's on, I think, day 3 of training, 5 hours or whatever a day. Why? Reskilling. Now, is it an investment? Type in yes in the chat bar. Does that investment pay back immediately? It doesn't matter because 2025 is foundation year. 2026 is springboard. And then we go to massive wealth by 2030. All right, let's take a deep breath a minute. I want you to look at your notes and tell me what you're picking up here. Give me one of your big things from your notes. And then after this, I want to share some things we got going up. And then I want to talk about the collapse audit. So type in the chat bar something that is resonating with you or creating awareness. And then I got some goodies for you guys I want to get to before some of you leave tonight. Right, pulling back on marketing. We're doubling down. And guess what? Here's the Diego. It's like Christmas morning. I'm rubbing my hands together every day. You know why? Because all the uneducated, unskilled business owners are pulling back, which is making marketing more affordable. We're getting leads at $3.67 a lead. At $3.67, Danny, I'm ready to sell this computer I'm on and throw it in Meta ads. Think about it. And in a year at that affordable price, you own the world. So it's okay the rest of the world runs away. You run in, because when people look at this, let's do some math. Let's do a little quiz here in the chat bar. If you had to pay, well, first off, what's the lifetime value of a customer for you? Type in the chat bar. Over a 7-year period, Z and Andrew and Tyler and Chris and Danny, what's the value of a lifetime customer over 7 years? Okay, $7K. All right, unlimited. I don't know if it's $5 million, maybe not. For me, it was $50,000, 25K. So Chris, people tell me, now remember, I had 20,000 people come through my training. So I got a lot of feedback. I got more muscles in business than most people out there today. That's why they call us the coach to the coaches, because we produced a fair amount of coaches out there. And they tell me, I'm not going to pay $200 for a lead, right, Danny? I'm not going to pay $200 a lead. And I'm like, why not? The lifetime value of them is $7,000, $10,000, $13,000, $15,000. Me, if you tell me you'll give me leads at $200, I'll give me. How many do you want to give me? Give me as many as you can, because there's not $200. There's $20,000, $30,000 over a period of time. Give me a boom if that's resonating with you. Is that resonating with you? But most people are not investing. They think nothing about spending $30,000 on a watch, or buying a Tesla, or buying a $10,000, whatever couch, or a couple $1,000 TV. They don't think nothing about it. But every time you're investing in your marketing, you're building a brand impression. And the more brand, Dean Jackson, brilliant, one of our coaches, he calls it mind minutes. And you should write that down, mind minutes. And he says, the more mind minutes that you build up over time, the more money you make, because you're the awareness. So if they don't have the money now, but you're the one talking to them when they do have the money, who do they go to? They go to you. Okay. All right, let's do it. So the collapse audit. Here's some of the things that's happening with people, and I want to give you some things. One thing is you're not paying attention to the growth and scalability of your team. Okay, you're investing in things, but you're not investing in their personal growth, and you want to invest in your people. Okay, if you have people that don't like change and they're not understanding and don't love your business, well, you're going to have to either improve them or make adjustments to it. The next thing is that you want to have to accelerate cash driving strategies. Okay, cash driving strategies. You also want to make a list of your top 100 relationships that can be referrals for you. And you want to create what we call the top 100 strategy. That's 100 people that believe in what you do and would tell other people, right? How many of you were referred to us by somebody? Type in referred in the chat bar. How many of you were referred by somebody? Yeah, so you're referred. So we're predominantly a referral-based company. So if you know anybody, feel free to refer us. But a lot of people are referring us every day. Why? Because we have these relationships and we serve like this with information to help people. The other thing I want you to do is what we call the top 100 product strategy, the top 100 product strategy. And the top 100 products, Kevin, is I want you to run a list of the 100 things that you buy on a regular basis. Now, this could be for your family, it could be for your business, it could be in wealth, it doesn't matter. And take your top 100 and run it through a filter, okay? And you could do the filter as like the top of it could be very needed, sometimes needed, not sure if it's still needed. So you got the top 100 things you buy. Is it very needed? Yeah, I need Zoom. It's very needed for me. Is it sometimes needed? And that might be a software system you use. Or is it not needed anymore? And you want to get rid of the not needed no more, okay? If it's products, like you purchase material parts, maybe you're in a service business or you're in a mechanic business or something like that, or dental business where you're always buying, cleaning tools and products, you want to go out and you want to get competitive bid on the from 3 different people, okay, 3 different organizations, competitive bid, and you want to get bulk bid from each one of them. So competitive bid and bulk bid. Competitive bid means everybody's gonna look, the shaker cup. Everybody's gonna give me a price on the same exact quality of shaker cup. Then everybody's gonna give me a price if I buy 100, 1,000, or 100,000 of them. And that's gonna help me make the wisest decisions based on tariffs and product and all that stuff. All right, I got a couple more things I got to drive home to you. Will you stay with me while I get through? I want to do what I call the survival stack. Type in survival if you're willing for me to go through that. And we'll go the next 15 minutes and we'll close it out if that's good. All right, we'll do the survival stack. All right, Danny, let's do it. You're going to love it, Danny. So number 1 on the survival stack is cash. It's cash, right? There's no substitute for cash on hand. Now, if you don't have cash, you have to ask yourself, are you not making cash or not allocating cash? There's a difference. A lot of people are making cash, but they're not taking a very small percentage and just putting it in a bucket. That's like the profit first philosophy, different buckets. Well, you should have your business running bucket, and then you have your profit bucket or your cash bucket, right? Cash bucket. So 1, if you don't have cash, you have to know where to get cash, because cash does create opportunities. So that could be a credit line. I tell everybody, if you have a credit line, I want you to double your credit line. I'm not saying use the credit line. I'm saying double the credit line. If you got $250,000 credit line, guess what? Ask them for $250,000 or $500,000. If you get a no, say how much more. Every time I got a credit line, I think the first one I got was $250,000. And then about 5 months later, I said, I want to double it. And they said, you didn't even use that. I said, but I'm going to get ready to use it. And then I went for $1 million and they said, you never used any of the 500,000. I said, but I'm getting ready to build. Now, when you have $1 million parachute, it sure the hell is a stronger parachute than a $250,000 parachute. Okay? So cash, that's number 1. Number 2 of the survival stack, people. Now, you should have your core team and your advisory team. Where I see people today make the biggest mess up is they have their team, which I don't even know if you call it your core team, because maybe you evolved them or maybe not, but they don't have their advisory team. See, I have a team that I call the board. It's our advisory team. And I've always had an advisory team, even when I was small. And I would meet with all the advisory team minimum once a quarter. My accountant, my attorney, my marketing expert, right? And I would meet with them because they're part of the people. And I would tell them, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm doing. If you want to know how to scale, right, a company to exit, if you ever do want to exit, it doesn't matter to me if you do, you can hand it down or make money, a lot of money while you, but I did exit 2 of them in 6 years, right? And both of them were high 8 figures with this, exactly what I'm telling you, the cash process, the people, process, and the board. You have to have smart people in your corner. If you have smart friends, they'll give you breadcrumbs. I had a lot of smart friends. I went to eat. They gave me breadcrumbs. When I paid for advisors, I got strategies, not breadcrumbs. Even a lot of my friends, I tell them I want to buy hours. They're like, oh, I'll help you. I'm like, nope. Tell me how much. I'm going to buy your hours. I'm going to buy your hours. You know why? I don't want fucking breadcrumbs. All right, number 3, offers. You have to become an offer testing machine. Offers are what are people buying, right? And what can you offer them? Every single one of you have your, what I would call your buffet of offers, and you're stuck in a box of those, and you're not thinking, what else do they want to buy? I just taught this at Sales Power, so I'll teach it to you. Here's the question that has made me millions of dollars. And if you want it, put dollar signs in the chat bar if you want it. Here's the question. Ready? But I want to see some dollar signs first while I take a drink. Okay. If there was something that you're buying from someone else that you'd rather buy from us, what would that be? If there was something, Diego, that you're buying from someone else that you'd rather buy from me, what would it be? Good. You guys should answer it for me. If there's something you're buying from someone else that you'd rather buy from Food Dog, what would it be? Think of something and tell me in the chat bar, right? So that helps you with different offers that you can make. Number 4, we spoke about it. Systems. Systems. If you're not a system-driven organization and you don't understand how to build them, make them stick, and make them grow by themselves, then you have risk to your organization. So I would strongly urge you to learn from us from systems, okay? And then number 5, metrics. Metrics. I see people still telling me they don't know the numbers, and you don't need all the numbers. You need the numbers that make sense now, right? Some people just told me the other day, they're like, I don't know how much profit I made. I know how much is in the bank. I'm like, okay, but how do we make decisions on that? You can't make strategic decisions with shitty math. You can. It's very dangerous, and you're going to get yourself in trouble. You're going to get yourself in trouble. So let me see what time it is. I want to sneak. Okay, I got some time. I'm going to sneak in a couple more things. Let me give you the Ice Age survival system. Ready? The Ice Age survival system. 1, create IP. Okay? Intellectual property. And create it different than it's being said by anyone else. And because a lot of people are just regurgitating stuff. And what I want you to do is introduce your intellectual property and make it this proprietary system. Now, I did one years ago in my service company, which I called it ready for this? Who's in what business are you in anyway? I didn't ask you at the beginning. Type in what kind of business you're in. What do you do? You're in a service business, coaching company, what? HVAC, plumbing, mental health, digital marketing. All right, so you guys could apply this, right? So I'll use the service industry because that's the model I used. Is I wanted to be very different, Betty, than everyone else. So you know what I called it? If you had a clogged drain, I said, we're going to use our drain terminator technology. Now, that's a pretty good language because you want me to terminate, eliminate, destroy the clog, right? So that was my proprietary system, was the drain terminated technology, right? $93 or it's free. So I had 93 or it's free, which meant if our drain terminator technology cannot eliminate, destroy, and break through this problem you have, then you do not pay us a dime. Type in compelling if you think that's a pretty damn compelling offer. Is it pretty compelling? Yeah. So what that does is we sell the system not just the marketing. The marketing becomes selling the system that's very different than everyone else. Just like I built, and tell me, type in helpful if this is helpful. I built what I called the triple play. You know what the triple play was? Well, I said, everybody out there, Kevin's doing heating tune-up, cooling tune-up. Well, why don't I do this? I'll come out with one price, right? The triple play system. Our triple play system is we'll check your furnace, we'll check your air conditioner, and we'll check your water heater. The three biggest mechanical systems in your house, we got that covered for you. Now, what did I create? I created an intellectual proprietary system that no one else had. And if you want to know how you go from, under $1 million to selling $32 million a year in under 10 years, and from 2 trucks to 165 vehicles and 2 employees to 200, to selling that company in 2017 for legacy style wealth, you just listen to what I'm saying today, because this is the foundation. Now, am I telling you, here's my disclaimer. Am I saying you need to do this? No. Am I saying you're going to become wealthy from a strategy? No. Am I saying putting this in place today is going to help you get better and win in the future? Well, yeah, I feel if you implement, don't look for returns tomorrow, because you're not in the short-term game. You're in the legacy game. Type in legacy in the chat bar, everybody, because you're in the legacy game. Now, not everybody's built for legacy game. See, my biggest fear, I have fears too. I had a big fear, and it was embedded in my mind when I tore all the ligaments in my ankle. Did anybody ever do this? This was a bad day. And I had to go to work on crutches and put a black plastic bag and duct tape. I had to go out there, and I'm an electrician by trade, if anybody's new in my world. And I had to crutch across the backyard and wire a pool. And I said to myself, I wonder what kind of risk I'm putting my family in by not figuring out how to be a real business owner. I wonder what kind of risk. If something happens to me, what happens to them? And that became part of my catalyst to learn to not be good, but to be one of the best in the world at what I do and help people with life, business, wealth by design. Why? Because I didn't want them ever to suffer. And I know if you're on here, you don't want people to suffer too. But look, you can't build a $5 million business with $1 million skill sets. You can't build a $10 million business with $1 million thinking process. I don't know anybody that's ever done it. It's a combination of stacking skills, and you're never going to stack skills on top of every skill you put on top of anxiety and ADHD and OCD and trauma. Those skills sink into quicksand, so they go away quickly. So there is a very practical approach to shifting your thinking, to getting skills, right? To putting and taking action on it. Okay, let's do this. 90-day plan. 90-day plan. We're going into, what are we in our second quarter? We're in already. I mean, look, we're going to be a half a year of 2025. That's great news for a lot of you and very bad news for some of you. You have exactly right now, I believe, 12 months to get everything in place to get you ready to win by 2030. The clock is ticking 12 months right now. It started already. And if you, from now to 12 months, have not built the skill set, have not fixed your marketing, your sales, your operations, your system, your mind, you don't have your relationships dialed in 12 months, it's going to be a very, very difficult time. Those of you that get it dialed in, well, whatever you choose to do in 12 months, you're going to be well on your way. Like a lot of other people, you're going to be on your way to legacy style wealth. If you choose to do it and keep your company, which I can show you how to make massive wealth keeping your company. If you want to reverse your age, I'm beating it by a little less than a decade or now. If you want to connect your relationships, me and my beautiful wife who's on here tonight, this is 40 years for us since we're 15 years old. So it's 4 decades. If you want to do that, or you just want to start scaling wealth, now is the time. type in now in the chat bar. When is this got to happen? Look, I can't repeat it enough for you. It has to happen now. So let me give you the last three things. Track your metrics. Start today and look at them every day so you can course correct and reverse engineer. Track your metrics, okay? Number two, double down on your people, okay? Someone told me, well, I actually said it, what if I teach them and they quit? And a friend of mine years ago, who was a mentor of mine probably 18 years ago, Al Levy, said, what if you never train them and they stay forever? And I said, holy shit, that sounds really bad. So double down on your people, invest in them. Don't let AI replace them. Let AI be there and reskill them. And number three, if you're not spending a lot of time training and learning with people that have done it and been to where you want to go, double down. Whatever your budget was per year for training, double it this year. Get your people around the right people that are teaching the skills. If it's not me, reach out to me. I'll tell you. If you need a skill set that we think we don't have, let me know. I'll refer you. We have a network over the last couple decades, and I mean, we're in 120 different industries. So if we don't have it, I guarantee I have a friend. You need a fractional CFO, a fractional CMO, you need a ninja attorney, CPA, whatever it is, reach out to us. We have people, okay? And we'll make referrals for you. All right, so what I want you to do is look at your notes, and I want you to give me one big action plan that you're going to take. One big action plan. Do that now. And I'm hoping, and then we're going to finish this up, I'm hoping your action plan is one, go look at the trainings that we have. I hope you're going to do that, or sign up for SOP. I hope you're going to do that. I hope another thing is you're going to go look at the skill sets of your people. I hope you're going to do that. So yeah, let's do it. And I'm going to read these here, and we're going to get ready to finish this thing off tonight. Okay. Double down on the marketing. Yes, Chris. Yeah, because marketing is an investment. It's an investment. Okay, let's see what else we got. Work on your sales. I'm loving that. Sell everything. Sell everything people will buy, right? Let them buy it. Bring it back to old school basics. Marketing is everything, and everything is marketing. Yep. And my one friend Diego says, who says it? Brian Kurt says, and marketing is the only thing. Marketing is the only thing, he says. Build skill sets of my people. All right, let me see. Create IP, cash, top 100. Danny, boom. Work on my team, double down on my training, market harder, stealth bomber. There you go. Invest in training and marketing. Learn, 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 never stop. Great job, Deb. Create a service call, SOP. Hey, everybody, if we could help you, I look forward to seeing a training. If this was worth your time tonight, can you say thank you to my team and give them a big boom? I got my beautiful wife on here. I got Megan on here, my business partner, Aaron on here. I got Morgan on here. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. And if you need support, help, guidance, resources, tools, Food Dog Group's the only thing you need to know. Boom.